I'm Drishti Bablani. Um, I'm an banking IT professional, and I'm also a philanthropist and a writer. So it's interesting. It's been a very interesting and a journey full of learnings. So I started my career just like everybody in the IT industry as an analyst, and I was working with PowerSoft Consulting, a very small firm in Ahmedabad, Gujarat. That's where I hail from. So. Um, yeah, it was very interesting. I started my career with mainframes mid-range, the dead technology per se, what we say. But I was working for American Express as a client on the travel domain. That's where I started. And from there, then we moved to Gurgaon, where I was working with IBM, which was like my dream company. So, working on IBM technologies, IBM was the place I wanted to be, and it was a very good experience, a very good organization to work for. Um, then in 2006, I moved on to Singapore, and I was working for JP Morgan, actually through PowerSoft Consulting in the beginning, and then I was uh, with JP Morgan on their roles. Um, it was That was the start of my banking IT career, and it was very interesting, um, very exciting. Banking is quite different from the other industries in many ways, and of course, high pressures, um, regulatory deadlines, and it's money, right? It's money at stake. It's a lot at stake. So, but I realized that I really enjoyed this pressure. So that kind of brought out that probably this was a destined thing, and then I got my first promotion as vice president with JP Morgan in 2014. Um, Moved from JP Morgan after 10 years with them to ANZ, um, to start another chapter. I was then working with core banking. I started with core banking and then moved different roles within the organization. And last year, in 2020 February, I moved to Stanchart, uh, where I'm into the regulatory space. Um, it's been a great learning, I think, throughout, and I'm very happy and grateful uh, for all the support that I've received throughout. Um, it's been overwhelming. So I think I'd speak for IT, banking IT specifically. But what I see is the world of technology and that journey has been a very long and yet a very complex journey in the last 60 years, right? If you see, we moved from mainframes to serverless. The growth has been tremendous, right? It's just been amazing to see how we've come from where we've come. I mean, initially, computers were just seen as complex computing devices. So, if you needed complex calculations, replace that, people doing it with computers. From there to today, where they are shaping your businesses entirely, right? Digital transformation, the all encompassing term, where it's now dictating the way you communicate with your customers, dictating the way how your productivity within the organization is, how efficient as an organization you are. It's everywhere. I think today the organizations or businesses cannot afford to stand still when it comes to their technological innovation. It has to go on. So the point that I'm trying to make is, initially, the organizations were just looking at giving web access to their customers. And today, what the customers are looking for is the sophistication of machine learning, AI. That's what they are looking for. So, what we do has changed significantly. And with the pandemic coming in, how we do it has also changed, right? The way we interact with our customers, the way we interact with our colleagues, everything has changed so drastically. So the only trend that I see as a true trend is the trend of fast paced change. Now, if I am in the university today, I join university today, there is something that is in trend now, say machine learning, AI. That's the talk of the town, right? But by the time I graduate, I don't know how much it would have changed. So the way I see this is, there are only two types of people who will survive this pace. The first is those, when the change happens, those who adapt quickly. So they will survive. But the ones that will thrive and lead are the ones who sense the energies in their surroundings much before the change really happens, predict the change, and convert that into business directions. Those are the ones that are actually going to thrive and lead. So, I mean, instead of bogging ourselves into what is the trend, and, you know, I think if from the beginning we start building these capabilities of adapting to change and sensing the change, that's the key thing. I always tell my team, one thing that is the most important and to keep at the top of your mind is, be a rock. And rock is an acronym that stands for be resilient. When you fail, which you will inevitably, you are going to fail at some point, shun the victim mentality and embrace the growth mindset. Learn from your failures and grow from there. So resiliency is one very important characteristics to have. The second is, be open to change. As I've already said, how critical change is, and it is inevitable. Um, Use that change to your benefit. That's the key thing. How you use the change. Be curious. Be passionately curious. Use that curiosity to build your knowledge. That again is the key strength that you will find in yourself. And last but the most important one is, be the key pillar. No matter where you go, which organization, which project, doesn't matter. Bring your value to the table and be the key pillar of that project, of that organization. I think that's where this rock thing fits in. You're actually a rock then. No one can move you. So that would be my advice. In the pursuit of success in our career, what happens is, many a times, and I've done this, right? I'm guilty of it as much as anybody else, and I've learned from it, and that's why we call them learnings, right? So what we do is we tend to forget the building blocks. We tend to mix up our priorities. And my key learning has been not to mix up these priorities or forget how my priority chain is. And I'll just give my priority chain, and I feel that that applies to many of us. The first is focus on your health, both on your physical and mental health. Because if you are healthy, you are more productive. And it's going to help you in every walk of life. The second is focus on your family, because family is what gives you happiness and fulfillment. And if you are happy, you're more productive. And the third is be yourself. The stress of being somebody else is counterproductive. So be yourself. Don't shy away from showing your own magic. And your organization needs your uniqueness. That's what your organization and this world needs. So I think these three things uh, I try to keep at the top of my mind, that these are my key priorities. I'm sure my work will not let me forget my other priorities. So that will always come. But I, I've seen that I tend to kind of forget these three, and hence I keep them on the top because they are actually the top three.